People disempower themselves daily and they don't even know they're doing it most of the time. But the thing is, when you start accepting things that are not really acceptable or not really what you want, you are teaching yourself and other people that you are not worthy or deserving of the things that you really want in your life. I'm Eugenia Nenko, and you're on the I'm Eugenia Nenko podcast. And today we're talking about how to take power and control back over your life and how to empower yourself to become the person that you want to become and be deserving and believe it, be deserving and worthy of the things that you want and the life that you want. For example, little ways that people can disempower themselves. Are you the kind of person that potentially you go and order a coffee and they make you the wrong coffee and you're standing there with your friends, they bring you the coffee, you taste it, you can tell it's the wrong one, and you mutter to your friend, oh, they've made their own coffee, I don't even like cappuccinos, but okay, let's just go. And the friend goes, no, go ask for the coffee that you want. No, it's okay, it doesn't matter. You could be the kind of person that, let's say you go and want ice cream and they've run out of the flavor that you want and you want chocolate and you only have a choice of vanilla. And you accept that because you want ice cream, but you don't want that flavor. But you take it anyway because you think, oh, this will have to do. But the thing is, the way that you approach life then becomes about this will do. I'm okay with this. I'll just deal with it even when it's not really something that I want. And this translates into other parts of your life. So this is not about ice cream. This is not about coffee. This is how you then show up and live your life. So for example, you get into a relationship with someone, you have an idea of what kind of relationship you want. And deep inside, you know the kind of relationship that you deserve. And this person's not quite that. They don't really show up in the ways that you want or expect or that make you feel loved or worthy or celebrated to be in your presence. But let's say you think to yourself, at least I have someone, so this will do. Yes, they're missing all these parts, but they've got some of this other stuff that I'm looking for. And maybe the grass isn't greener on the other side. Maybe I'm not going to do or find better. Maybe this is the best I can do. And for what I'm looking for, this will make do. So do you see how with all of these actions, you are teaching yourself and believing and behaving in a way where everything is just good enough. Everything then in your life as a baseline becomes average. And then you yourself become average. But I'm not saying you're not good enough. What I'm saying is the life and you and your behavior recalibrate around that level. You'll notice that maybe you don't get your hair done as much as you used to. Maybe you stop putting makeup on. Maybe the way that you dress starts to come down a level or two. Maybe you start dressing in a way where you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to throw something on and this will do. Maybe the way that you're eating or exercising or even behaving at work. Maybe once where you were quite passionate or quite interested and had this sort of lust for what you do, it slowly started to dwindle down and now it's just something that you do, somewhere where you go 9 to 5, you do what needs to be done, but it just doesn't feel that great or fulfilling anymore. So everything you do in your life reorganizes and recalibrates to the level of what you accept. And when you accept things that ultimately, maybe even at some point for you, were never acceptable, but you just started making do with those things. At some point, you started accepting things where you may not have accepted them from another person, from another situation, from yourself. So when everything reorganizes and now you accept those things, you are, in a way, telling yourself that, hey, I don't actually have control of what I want. I just have to go with the flow. I can have what I want, but I actually cannot have it. They're just my dreams. And then you accept something that does not align with what you say you want. So this is where you are disempowering yourself. This is when you've got to take your power back to be back in control of your life. Because when you raise your standards and start saying, hey, actually, I want a chocolate ice cream, I don't do vanilla, you can walk away from that shop not having an ice cream. Not because you don't want one, but because you know what you will not accept. Especially if you're someone that struggles to say no or speak up and you have little to no boundaries, or maybe you have boundaries but you don't really enforce them. So theoretically, don't have boundaries. But if you're someone like that, then standing up for yourself or going after what you want feels unnatural. It can feel like you're almost guilt tripping yourself and making yourself feel bad for wanting something that you actually want, but you feel like you're being difficult or that you shouldn't have it. But here's the truth. You will never ever have what you want unless you go after it and do the things that are required to get what you want. And that requires standards. That requires boundaries. That requires for you to live at a baseline that is on the frequency of getting what you want. All the people that are successful or living the lives that they want, because they've done what is required to be at that level. So here's some really easy tips of how you can very slowly integrate self-control, self-responsibility, self-leadership, how you can take control back over your life. Because if you're someone that doesn't have boundaries or haven't enforced your standards, or you're really scared to go after what you want, or you don't even maybe on a level feel like you deserve it or are worthy of it, then going from 0 to 100 is going to stress you out. It's going to overwhelm you, and it can actually cause you to accept more of what you don't want. So the first thing you can do is write a list. Write a list based off where you are in your life, what you are no longer willing to accept from yourself, from other people, and from life. I no longer accept friendship where my friends put me down or make me feel less than, or make me feel like I'm begging to hang out with them, or just anyone that makes you feel like you're not good enough. Something as simple as I'm no longer going to accept snoozing through my alarm like 5 times and then being late every day and then skipping my workout. And I need my workout because I know I'm going to feel really good for the day and do something for myself at the start of the day. So write down all the things that you are no longer willing to accept. So that's one small step, just putting it out in writing, just looking at it, because that will actually tell you what you've been accepting. And when you can look at it on paper, it's really raw. And you're like, wow, the things that I've been accepting that are actually not okay with me is wild. So first, you've got to have awareness of your current situation and what you are accepting in the specific people and situations that are keeping you small and contained, keeping you in this little bubble of yourself when you actually deserve the exact life and to be the exact person that you want to be. So that's step one. The next step is actually putting something into action. So start somewhere small and easy. This is going to be one of those scenarios like when they make you the wrong coffee, you send it back. When there is the ice cream that you don't want, walk away. Because what you're doing is reinforcing to yourself that, hey, I'm not going to accept something that is not actually what I want. And then that raises your standards and baseline. You're not being difficult. You are just choosing to live in alignment. Because what you don't want is to say that you want to be a certain kind of person or have a certain kind of life, and then bring things into your life that are detours. And some people are on a lifelong detour. I talk to so many people daily that will give me the story of why they've been doing what they've been doing for 20 years. Some people, 40 years. They've been doing what they've been doing because when they were 20, they were traveling and they did something for a year and then they fell into the thing and they thought, oh, I should just keep going with this because I've invested a year of my life into it. And then 40 years later, they're like, I've spent my whole life doing something ultimately I didn't actually want to do. And the things I wanted to do, I didn't go after them because I was either so busy focusing on that lane or trying to make something work that was never going to work. So what you need is to raise your standards, not just for yourself, but for other people, for your environment, for what you've been putting up with that's not okay. You need to start enforcing those standards. And essentially, boundaries are standards by which you live by. And this is how you get to decide who is part of your life and who is not. Being part of your life is a privilege. It's not given the people that can take advantage of you or they just really don't value you. People that just come in and out of your life when it's convenient to them are doing it because they know they can get away with it. It's not that you're special in some way and you could mistake that as, oh, they just keep coming back to me. There must be something about me. And it's not to put you down. It's their MO. It's how they operate. They're not just doing this with you. They're doing this with a lot of people and anyone that they can get away with doing those kind of things that can also give them some of what they. It's not because you are so special or so amazing. They can be without you. That's why they're not with you all the time. But at some point, you are the one that has to put a line in the sand. And when someone or a situation comes up that is now at odds with who you know you want to be, and you've already said to yourself, this is in my not acceptable pile. When that person or thing or situation comes into your life, this is where even just in your mind or out loud, you can say, I do not accept. And that registers in your brain. And if you're worried about, look, I've got this history with this person, and every time they come into my life, somehow I end up falling for their shit, whatever their manipulation or their spiel or their apology or whatever it is. When you say to yourself, I do not accept this, it creates an incongruence. It creates tension. It creates this internal turmoil. It can manifest like that gut-wrenching feeling, like you might feel a little bit anxious or sweaty or your heart's beating. Let's say someone messaged you, this person has messaged you, and you're like, here we go again. am I just going to fall into this trap again? When you've made a decision that this is no longer acceptable, it almost creates a rift within you. And then you feel torn, you feel split, you don't know which way you want to go. So when that's happening, it means that what you know and what you feel, there's a gap. And just remember that feelings are fleeting. Someone popping back up or a situation coming up will give you a physiological response, but we can often mistake how our body reacts in that situation as potential love, or we can give it meaning. Oh, this means something. If I feel something, it means something. And go with what you know. You have said you don't accept it, and even if there's parts of you don't want to let something go or someone go, or you're just not ready to make that jump, just remember there's a reason you do not accept this. And come back to that reason. And saying no or sometimes ignoring is the easiest. But by avoiding that situation, you may not truly understand how much you're saving yourself until hindsight reaches. That's one of those things that this person or situation or environment is not good for you, but you're used to it. It feels safe, even though it can be very bad for us, and it could actually be holding you back. And it's incongruent with the identity that you are trying to build. There's something misaligned with the person you say you want to be versus what you're actually doing, and feel that. That's why it feels uncomfortable, because you got two stories that are not meshing together, and you know that those two paths cannot merge. That's why you feel uncomfortable. That's why you can't get it out of your head. That's why you get physiological responses. That's why you mull it over in your brain over and over again. Maybe you relive the past, whatever it is. But those are signs that it causes you anxiety or stress. It causes you to get off baseline. So learn how to say no, even when in the moment you may not quite get what you feel. You may not quite back the full no. So if you're someone that's never taken coffee back in your life, if you're someone that when you go shopping and you get food from the supermarket and you get overcharged, you see it on the receipt and you see it popping up on the screen and you have the opportunity to say something and you don't. If you go shopping for clothes and you get home and there's a rip or a thread or something on your shirt and you spend like $100 on the shirt or dress or whatever, and you're not going to take it back just because you don't want to have an altercation, whatever it is, though for you, those situations are going to be difficult. So you've got to start small and start standing up for yourself, because nobody is going to do it for you. And when you start standing up for yourself, when you start saying no, when you actually mean no, when you stop waiting for someone to apologize or to come back to you and be like, I'm so sorry, I did all these horrible things. Please take me back or accept my apology. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for the right situation, because it's never going to come. Stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting till you're thinner or stronger or richer or hotter or whatever it is. Because the reality is that how you're behaving now is what's causing you to be there. So you've got to do something different. Raise your baseline, raise your standard, start living as the person you want now. And then that is how you're going to grow into that thinner, hotter, richer, more emotionally mature, boundaried up, high standard woman or man or whatever. You've got to start acting like that now. but you don't have to go full throttle. It's just small incremental changes every single day, small little step over and over again. And then eventually that is just who you are, not who you're trying to become. So do you see the difference? Like trying to throw yourself into something, mold yourself to the person you want to be. Very, very forceful, right? If someone's carving a statue or something out of special clay or whatever it is, they don't mold that perfect image within one day. It could take them months, years to create that perfect sculpture. But they show up every single day and they do what is required to reach the finish line. And most people don't even reach the finish line because they have this all or nothing mentality. Like, I have to do it all or I'm not that person. That's not how it works. Small, tangible, incremental changes daily. And that's why I've created your daily dose to reclaim your power. These are small micro dose podcasts. I release an episode daily. So if you need that help, if you want that daily reminder or daily focus. So I always talk about there's the focus for the day, things that you probably not even aware that you are doing, other things where you're disempowering yourself or giving away the control, all the little ways that keep you small, all the ways that prevent you from increasing your baseline. So if you're like, yeah, I would love more standards, I would love to have strong boundaries, I would love for all these people that are messing with me or ruining my life or making me feel small to just get lost. These daily microdose episodes, podcasts, help you just to focus on that one small step daily. So if you're interested in that, go subscribe on eugenianenko.com. Love this first episode back of the I Am Eugenia Nenko podcast. Also go follow me on Instagram, I Am Eugenia Nenko podcast, where I post reels daily, give you tips daily, and there's little micro doses of motivation and aha moments. Like, yeah, actually I do that a lot and I'm not even realizing how it's impacting my life, my decisions, my behavior, and the shit I'm accepting that I actually really am not okay with. So I'll see you guys next week and I hope you found that helpful. And subscribe to this channel.